To complement the growing diversity celebrated by the alternative press, a greater sense of community among alternative press contributors has also been rapidly developing. For the last several years, conventions like the Alternative Press Expo in San Francisco, Ohio's Small Press and Alternative Comics Expo, and the Small Press Expo in Maryland have been mainstays for alternative publishers, creators, and fans to gather and enjoy the new works being published in their field. And new conventions devoted to the small press are cropping up on a regular basis. Award ceremonies are often held at these conventions, recognizing excellence amongst artists and writers, and many talented creators get their first big chance at mass exposure through these venues. With the mainstream publishers turning towards the alternative field more often in the search for new talent, these conventions are becoming very important in establishing a name for oneself. Aside from the obvious benefits of greater recognition and the possibility for financial gain, the sense of community espoused by such gatherings is important in keeping creators excited about their work. Comic books have become a rather small niche market, and working within that niche, particularly in the alternative press, can be a thankless and costly undertaking. Many small publishers and self-publishers struggle just to break even while doing what they love. So the opportunity to socialize with like-minded people in a forum dedicated to independent comics is a much-needed morale boost. Getting praise for their work or having the chance to meet an admired fellow artist is enough to remind most creators of why they're doing what they're doing. The art world then reaps the benefits of this renewed enthusiasm. In the same vein as alternative comics conventions, the anthology is another arena in which new talent can gain wider recognition within the community, and recent years have seen the anthology building up some steam. Since the days of the underground comics of the 60s, anthology books, those which feature multiple short stories by a collection of artists and writers, have been a potent way for new talent to enter the domain of comics. Often, well-known artists and writers collaborate within the same anthology as newer, less established ones. Thus, the draw of the popular names brings readers in, and the readers can then experience the work of the new creators in the same context as the more famous ones. Also, the more bang for your buck factor applies to anthologies. For a reasonable price, a buyer can get several different stories that cover a broad range of style and subject matter, all between the same two covers. The downside to comic book anthologies is that they have historically been difficult to maintain, at least in the format of a regular series. The pressure to get fresh talent in each edition leads to an inevitable decline in quality, and a great many anthology titles don't last more than a few issues. Anthologies reach their highest potential in larger, less frequent formats, such as annual or quarterly volumes rather than monthly pamphlet-style issues. These are the books that have been gaining in popularity recently, with each new volume being a showcase for the best the independent world has to offer. Many creators use these pages to give brief previews of their upcoming works, a wise strategy that reaches a wider and more receptive audience than standard advertising. Among these anthologies are the books published by Monkey Suit Press and the annual book released to coincide with each year's SPX convention, showcasing contributions from many of the creators featured at the convention. Drawn and Quarterly also has its own anthology series, printed in magazine format and regularly collected as coffee table editions. Anthologies are also frequently used for fundraising purposes, generating funds for various causes like the CBLDF or other charitable organizations. Flipping through the independent section of any month's previews catalog from Diamond, you'll doubtlessly come across at least one or two anthologies, with more being added all the time, as publishers and readers alike recognize their value as jumping-off points for aspiring creators.